Xeno Hunter. Really? Okay. Weil ich mit ihr zusammen bin? You spent your years with Waze the other hunters out in the muck of the swamps and further fighting monsters for food and safety. You protect those you love. You need a rebellion less than. You enjoyed the rush. Really? Uh-huh. You love the thrill of testing your mettle against nature raw fury. Also je nachdem, wie weit die Rebellion ist, wird das dann auch nochmal unterschieden. Okay, warte mal. Wir haben pro Kategorie 3 Kategorien, 4 Stück, das heißt 12. Das wären 24 verschiedene Charaktere im Grunde genommen. Innerhalb von allen verschiedenen. Und dann wären noch 5 übrig. Das ist schon interessant. You love the thrill of testing your mettle against nature raw fury. You rack up cool scars and even cooler stories to tell. In your late years you become a well-known storyteller, reenacting your daring adventures around the bonfire at Vetunalia festivals. Okay, ja, Labertasche, das klingt ganz nach mir. You inspire children to follow in your footsteps. It doesn't always end well for them, but they're entitled to make their own mistakes. Just like you did as a kid. The sacrifices are for the good of the colony. Ich wäre lieber eine Protector. One becomes security chief once Rev retires. Her training in defense means that the attitude of the garrison mellows in later years. And young cadets look up to her with admiration, never fear. The pullback from hunting parties almost puts you out of a job, but you're so good at it that one ensures you lead the ones that are still in operation. The two of you strike a balance between offense and defense. Oh! Sehr gut. Sehr gut. Also, ich muss nicht die Heldin im Beschützen sein. Sie ist diejenige. Toll. What about... After a tumultuous beginning, you and one finally managed to find each other. When you were just barely adults, it seemed like it would last forever. What? One becomes security chief once. Yeah, her training, blah blah, still defending... Moment. Her training in defense means that the attitude of the girls and mellows in later years, blah, 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 never fear. Still defending the colony weighs heavily on her. You watch helplessly as the endless, horrible grind of the yearly attacks take its toll on her. When she turns to drink to help numb the stress, you're there to support her when she's ready to claw her way back out again. You're together for a long time, long enough that people start asking you about whether or not you're going to start a family. You and one just shrug it off. There's no real pressure. Plenty of people are leading the charge without you. You both agree. Why have children when you have each other? Your love sustains just fine. You're just fine. The life of a soldier is unpredictable and unfortunately often tragic. Scheiße. Und schon kommen wieder die Tränen. The colony loses one during an attack. She was still so young. As was Com. All those years ago, it's more comfort thinking they may be together again. Whenever they were. Your friend Tammy blossoms into a fine mother. Not just to your own children, but to every person in the colony who needs a mother and love. Carl and Tammy's commitment ceremony is the event of the decade. Bedecked with flowers, streamers and holographic images of unicorns and fairy tales castles, they stand before the colony with seer and profess their intentions to live together as a family unit. A foregone conclusion for most, as Tammy is already beginning to show her second pregnancy. The three, soon 4, then many more, of them are a symbol of hope for your growing colony. They live on a homestead near geoponics, and their home is always filled with love and laughter. Tammy insists on cooking for you on your weekly family dinners, and she even begins to get pretty good at it. Quite without meaning to, Tammy becomes an advocate for the communal raising of children, just as you yourself were raised. The more militant Helios resist, not wanting to associate the stratus hippie nonsense, but as the colony grows, so too does the influence over the next generation. For Aunt Annie, Anne stays on as the chief steward well into her 90s. Tammy takes over the new creech and becomes something of a mythical figure in the colony. Auntie Tammy in her own right. There's no child born who doesn't know the safety and warmth of Tammy's arms. The indomitable Marzipan. That's Governor Marzipan to you. Mars leans from her flirtation with capitalism and, true to her word, abandons their plan to turn kudos into a true currency. She wants to raise everyone's standard of living together, not create a luxurious nouveau rich on Ventumna. She insists heavily in arts and culture, insisting that artisans should be as supported as a scientist or a soldier. It's a controversial stance when the colony is being attacked every year, but it's important to her, and more importantly, it helps keep the colony's spirit high as the years go on. Unfortunately, after a spat of heavy attacks that nearly decimate the colony, the pressure to increase defense spending is too great. Mars is voted out after just over a decade of governor. On a Holio-born soldier is installed in the place. A defense-minded governor saves the colony, but Mars complains at what cost. As for her love life, Mars is never really on to settle down for long term. She enjoys a string of lovers, Tangent, Utopia, Rex, okay, again, a number of people from the Heliopause. Everyone wants her, nobody can change her. She does eventually have one child, just for the novelty. She enjoys being the center of attention while carrying a surgent pregnancy. Surrogate, but enjoys being the child's wealthy, generous Auntie Marzipan even more. Mars remains surrounded by as much luxury as one could expect on an exoplanet, and though she complains about wanting more, she never seems anything less than happy about her life. Your friend Dai keeps on exploring. He's alive. Utopia keeps him on a second surveyor, recognizing that a man like Dice needs to feel useful or he's prone to wander. Wander? Or wandering. Over time he straightens up his act and even learns to play nice with authority. For he and Utopia together suddenly keep the council guessing. He spends more and more time in the wilderness, particularly during Glow. This earns him some distrust from the more militant factions in the colony. What is he doing out there? Who is he meeting? Utopia defends him the best she can. She trusts him, and that's enough to keep Dice from being hauled into an interrogation room. You know the truth, Thor. He's just meeting Sim. It's almost not a surprise when Dice admits to you that he's in love with Sim. It's hard for him to explain the depth and intimacy of their relationship. That's when Dice is with Sim, he feels a sense of completion, of love that he's never felt among humans. Sim shows him things, teaches him things, not just about himself, but about all life, and not just in the present, but across all of the time. You never seen Dice talk about anything with such passion. You keep a secret from the others. Dice is your friend. He deserves to be happy. Dice continues his work in expeditions for many years, finding freedom and adventure in the wide open frontiers of Vertumna. He's chosen a dangerous life, and his immunity to fear, a natural human response to the very real danger of the hostile world, means that he's taken even more danger than most. Eventually it catches up with him. But there's no body to recover. His funeral is well attended by all of the expeditions and of course by Tangent. Your friend Carl grew up, but he never lost his boyish charm. Carl soon rises the role of chief cultivar. The responsibility of feeding the colony is enormous. Carl isn't good with confrontation or pushing people as hard as your mom famously did. On years when the wrath of pest threatened the food supply, you often see him looking haggard. He deals with a lot of stress and it ages him quickly, but his kind nature means he never takes it out on other people or wants them to worry about him. He's a lot like your dad, that way. Carl and Tammy formalize their relationship after a few years. Before the colony, they state their intentions to live together, loving and caring for each other as a family unit. It's a beautiful ceremony. Sia is the first of many children they raise together. Together they have a tidy little sum of children, and that's the only tidy thing about them. The children grow up digging in the dirt, eating bugs, nearly getting molded by farm equipment, and having a great time being kids. Carl doted on every one of them and adores his partner Tammy. Carl himself never gives up on trying to convince people to live in harmony with Matumna. For his family is a source of strength, he struggles with the violence that's necessary for the colony to survive here. In his 50s, he's killed while defending geoponics during an attack. You grieve him deeply for many years. Symbiosis. The bridge between two people. Undying, never aging, ever patient Sim becomes as much as a mystery to you as the rest of the planet. The colony continues to buckle under yearly attacks and unnatural disaster, but Sim never wavers in his passion to learn everything about humanity. Though he remains as cryptic as always, his affection for your species only deepens. In your grief and demoralizing fatigue, you sometimes turn to blaming Sim. Why can't he stop these attacks? Why can't he argue with the gardeners to leave humanity alone? He never holds it against you, no matter how cruel your words. Every time you calm down, he patiently reminds you that it's his dissenting voice is one of the only reasons humanity hasn't been destroyed outright. Meeting Sim in secret makes you feel horrible sometimes, like you've been torn apart in the middle of this war. You love your friend, but the war takes its toll on your friendship just like it wears down the colony. You visit Sim as your job allows it, but over time you see him less. He doesn't need to come to your rescue anymore. You're an adult now, and you know what you're doing out there in the wilds. Eventually, you stop seeing him at all. You think he might have taken another form. Maybe he's moved on from humans to study some other animal, or maybe the gardeners have given up on understanding humans. The attacks only grow stronger every year. Your dad never really recovered from your mom's death. He tries, but his smiles just isn't the same. He continues to carry the weight of feeding the colony on his shoulders, ranching and farming and analyzing new native plants, trying to find better ways for humanity to thrive on Vatumna. The attacks on the colony destroy his progress every year, and the stress ages him prematurely. You watch your father grow weaker under the strain, until one day a sudden heart attack claims him in the field. He worked hard every day to see Vatumna flourish. But you have to go on without him. They'll always be with you in the ground of you walk on, in the trees that gives you shade, and in the cycle of life that sustains you. Your Hopeye is a good companion, but you are no replacement for its own species. When a herd of Hopeye roam close enough to the colony, you release it back into the wild. And a few years later, you regret one morning by a whole little And a few years later, you're greeted one morning by a whole litter of Hopeye kittens outside your door, and Hoptrix proudly showing off their family. Sweet. The days turn to months, eventually becoming years, then decades. Before you know it, you're old. Life is tough, but rewarding. Talent wasn't mentioned. Thank God. Ich glaube, das hätte mich jetzt total zerstört, wenn ich jetzt auch noch wirklich Selbstmord begangen hätte, wie beim letzten Mal. With your strong defenses, the colony becomes a fortress against the untamed wilds of the planet. Vertumna. Expansion is slow and difficult, but the hunting squads keep the local xenofauna down. You'll even start a second colony a few hundred clicks away, and humanity begins to get a real foothold on the planet. Gone are the days where you worry that humanity will be wiped off the map for good, but it's still far from the utopian paradise you were promised. This is your home, for better or worse. You do what you can make of it a good one. Eventually death comes to you, as it does to everyone. In the moment of your death, as your brain cells frizzle out one by one and shut down forever, a vision swims in your mind's eye. Is that a person? They seem so familiar. You feel like you know them so well. It's me. Oh, it's you, only ancient. Her arms are covered with so many data bands, so many lifetimes of knowledge. The ancient you speaks without moving her mouth, not in words but in something like pictures, still you understand. She smiles. You had a good life, don't you think? But there are so many possibilities, and this was only one of them. I lived my best life. I could have done better. Well, I tried. I can tell from the weight of your soul, she says sadly, that many of your friends and family died before their time. People who might not have, perhaps, if you'd made different choices. She pats your shoulder consolingly. It's natural in grief to wish you could have done something different, to have saved someone, but we are special, aren't we? We really can save them. Komm. Und Tammys Vater. Vielleicht auch meine Mutter. We have a chance to take another path, to change the way our life turned out. She reaches out a hand. Come with me. Wundervolles Spiel. Vier, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ne, warte mal. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7. 29. So, start new life. Ich werde demnächst ziemlich viel auf diesem Kanal umkrempeln. Ich werde es erklären. Bis dahin, lebt euer Leben so gut ihr könnt. Ich wünsche euch alles Gute. Und kauft das Spiel. Es ist es wert.